Human blood is blue inside the veins. Someone has probably explained this to you with complete confidence. Blood only turns red when it comes into contact with oxygen in the air. That's why veins look blue. It seems perfect. It seems logical. It sounds true. It isn't. Human blood is never blue. Not at any point. Not inside the veins, not inside the heart, not anywhere in the body. It is always red. What changes is only the shade. Bright, vivid red when it is carrying plenty of oxygen. Darker and more intense red in the venous return when oxygen levels are lower. Red in both cases. Always red. So why do veins look blue? Physics, not biology. The light hitting your skin contains every color in the spectrum. Blue light has a short wavelength and scatters near the surface of the skin. Red light penetrates deeper into the tissue. The result is that your eyes perceive more blue coming from the direction of your veins, even though the blood inside them is dark red. It is a perfect optical illusion created by your own body's tissues. Now, if we are talking about blood that genuinely comes in other colors, the list of candidates is longer than you would expect. The horseshoe crab has blue blood, and so does the octopus. Same reason, copper instead of iron. But there is an even more extreme case. Some lizard species from New Guinea have genuinely green blood. Green, due to an accumulation of a pigment called biliverdin that in humans would signal serious liver disease. In the lizard, it is simply normal. Nature clearly did not consult a color guide before making these decisions. Humans? Completely red on the inside, always have been. Camels store water in their humps. Picture it, endless desert, unbearable heat, and a camel crossing it all without breaking a sweat. It seems obvious that the massive hump is a water tank. It's so logical that nobody ever questioned it. Except it's completely wrong. Camel humps are made of fat, pure fat, up to 36 kilograms of it stored up there, acting as a compact, portable energy reserve. There is not a single drop of water inside. When a camel goes without food for days or weeks, the body burns through that fat as fuel. That's why the hump shrinks when the animal is malnourished and fills back up when it eats well. Here is the most fascinating detail of all. When the body burns that hump fat as fuel, the chemical process produces water as a byproduct. About 1.1 grams of water for every gram of fat metabolized. So indirectly, the hump does turn into water, just not in the way anyone imagined. The fat is not a reservoir, it is a power plant, and water is one of the products of combustion. So where did the water confusion come from? Because camels do things with hydration that seem physically impossible. When they find a water source, they can drink up to 150 liters in a single session. 150 liters at once. Then they go weeks without needing to drink again. And their bodies are a feat of biological engineering. Their red blood cells are oval-shaped instead of round, which allows blood to keep circulating normally even under severe dehydration, a condition that would cause collapse in any human. Their body temperature fluctuates far more than ours, minimizing sweating to an extreme. Every drop of water is used to its absolute limit. They are extraordinary survival machines. The secret just isn't in the hump. Carrots improve your night vision. This one is great, not because it's true, because the lie has a backstory better than anything you'd make up. Carrots contain beta-carotene, which the body converts into vitamin A, essential for eye health. That part is real, but it is not going to turn anyone into a creature capable of seeing in the dark like a cat. If your vitamin A levels are already normal, eating more carrots changes absolutely nothing about your vision. Zero. No measurable effect whatsoever. And while we are on the subject, consuming large amounts of beta-carotene for weeks on end has a real, documented, and completely harmless consequence. The pigment accumulates in the fatty tissue just under the skin. Result, your skin turns slightly orange. The condition is called carotenemia. Doctors have seen patients arrive convinced they had some serious disease. They were just eating too many carrots. So where did this myth actually come from? World War II. A deliberate British disinformation operation. The Royal Air Force had installed a network of radar stations along the coast that allowed them to detect German aircraft in the dark with impressive accuracy. Radar was new technology and far too secret to reveal. The Germans could not find out it existed. So the British government invented a different explanation for their pilots' nighttime successes. They spread the story that their aviators ate enormous quantities of carrots, giving them supernatural night vision. They published articles, photos of grinning pilots holding carrots, accounts of aerial victories all attributed to the vegetable. The Germans believed it, the entire world believed it, and we are still believing it today, decades after the war ended and radar became everyday technology. Carrots are good for you. But your eyes are not going to become classified military equipment. You should urinate on a jellyfish sting. Every beach movie has this scene. Someone runs out of the ocean screaming in pain with a red tentacle mark on their leg, and the hero appears with the solution everyone knows works. It doesn't work, it makes things worse. Jellyfish stings happen because of microscopic structures called nematocysts, tiny venom-loaded cells on the tentacles. When they make contact with skin, they fire toxins automatically like chemical triggers. The problem is that a significant number of those nematocysts get stuck in the skin without having fired yet. They sit there, intact, waiting for any stimulus to activate. Urine is exactly that stimulus. Depending on its salt concentration and temperature, urine activates those unfired cells. Result: a second wave of venom released directly into the already inflamed area. More toxins, more pain, more reaction. You end up with a worse sting and covered in urine. Neither is ideal. The correct approach: rinse with salt water from the ocean, never with fresh water because that can also trigger remaining nematocysts. Then apply hot water to help neutralize the toxins. For some specific species, vinegar works well. Forget Hollywood. This time, Hollywood got it badly wrong. And speaking of jellyfish, there is a species called Turritopsis dohrnii that is, as far as science has been able to determine, biologically immortal. When it ages, falls ill, or sustains serious injury, it reverses its own aging process and reverts to its juvenile state, restarting the cycle from the beginning. No other known multicellular species does this. Scientists are actively studying this mechanism as a potential key to research on aging and cellular regeneration. The creature everyone wants to use as a home remedy may be the most biologically extraordinary animal on the planet. Humans have only 5 senses: vision, hearing, smell, taste, touch. You memorized this in school, wrote it on tests, and probably never stopped to question it. It's the kind of fact that seems too obvious to be wrong. It's wrong. The idea of 5 senses was proposed by Aristotle over 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years. Before any modern science, before any measurement instruments, before any neurological research. And it stayed that way, repeated for centuries, until it became unquestionable truth. Modern neuroscience identifies far more than 5. Some researchers count over 20 distinct human senses. The vestibular system handles balance. Without it, standing up too quickly would be enough to send you to the floor. It has nothing to do with the classic 5. Proprioception is your body's ability to know exactly where each limb is in space without looking. Close your eyes right now and touch the tip of your nose with your finger. Did you do it? That's not vision, that's proprioception working. Thermoception detects temperature changes. Nociception processes pain. Interoception picks up internal signals: hunger, thirst, heart rate, breathlessness. There is even chronoception, the brain's natural sense of time passing. There is also a phenomenon called synesthesia, present in roughly 4% of the population. People with synesthesia do not experience the senses as separate channels. They hear music and simultaneously see colors. They touch textures and taste flavors. They read words and associate each letter with a specific sound tone, always the same tone, always the same letter. This is not imagination. It is neurological, mapped in brain imaging studies. For these people, the idea of 5 completely separate senses never made sense because for them it never worked that way. If we only had 5 senses, walking in a straight line would already be a miracle. The simple act of picking up a glass without looking would be impossible. Aristotle was brilliant for his era. His era just didn't have neuroscience yet. Chameleons change color to camouflage themselves. The image is classic. Chameleon on a green leaf turns green, lands on brown bark turns brown. Like a reptilian ninja, the environment just absorbs. Everyone knows this. Except reality is quite different, and far more interesting. Chameleons change color primarily to communicate and to regulate body temperature. Color is language for them. When a male wants to impress a female or intimidate a rival, he explodes into vivid colors: intense orange, electric yellow, neon green. The more striking the display, the more dominant he appears. When stressed or frightened, they show specific patterns that signal emotional state to others of their species. When calm and comfortable, they settle into softer, more neutral tones. When they need warmth, they darken to absorb more solar radiation. When they overheat, they lighten to reflect it. All of this is controlled by cells called chromatophores, which contain colored pigments, and by microscopic nanocrystals beneath the skin that reflect light in completely different ways as they compress or expand. The color shift is nearly instant, and the chameleon has other capabilities that make camouflage almost irrelevant as a superpower. Its tongue is longer than its entire body and can be launched in 0.07 seconds at an acceleration of up to 6 times the force of gravity. For comparison, fighter pilots lose consciousness at 9 times gravity even with specialized equipment. The chameleon does this with its tongue, silently, without warning. and each eye operates completely independently, giving the animal almost 360-degree vision without ever needing to move its head. Does camouflage happen? Sometimes, by accident. But chameleons are not scanning their surroundings and adjusting color to stay invisible. They change color because they need to communicate, and the colors occasionally happen to match the background by pure coincidence. The invisible ninja is a myth. The colorful communicator with a lance for a tongue and fully independent eyes is real. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You heard this your whole life. Your mom said it. Your doctor probably said it. The cereal box definitely still says it. It feels like a law of nature so obvious nobody questions it. But this phrase did not come from scientific research. It came from a marketing campaign. In the late 1800s, John Harvey Kellogg, the exact same man who invented cornflakes, began promoting breakfast as a cornerstone of a healthy lifestyle. Food companies quickly saw the opportunity, convincing people that eating in the morning was biologically necessary meant selling cereals, juices, breads, and yogurts to an enormous market that simply hadn't existed before. What very few people know is that for much of European history, eating immediately after waking was actually frowned upon. In medieval Europe, having a meal right after getting up was considered a sign of gluttony, one of the 7 deadly sins. Your first thought in the morning was supposed to be prayer, not food. Laborers ate early out of necessity. People of means waited. Breakfast as a universal healthy habit is essentially a 20th century invention dressed up as ancient tradition. They invested fortunes in advertising. They funded studies. They repeated the message for decades until it became global common sense. It works so well that skipping breakfast today feels irresponsible, almost dangerous. Except science doesn't actually confirm this special status for morning eating. What research consistently shows is that what matters most is the overall quality of your diet across the day, not the clock position of your first meal. Some people genuinely function better eating early. Others clearly have no appetite in the morning and feel much better eating later. Intermittent fasting, which became one of the most popular dietary habits in the world, is nothing more than skipping breakfast, and the results people report are real and documented. Your body does not have a biological clock that turns 7 in the morning into a mandatory eating time. It has hunger. If you're hungry, eat. If you're not, carry on. The most important meal of the day is the one that actually works for your body, not the one the cereal box is trying to sell you. Now you know. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel.